is Joe Mixon of the Houston Texans. Finished the year as a half PPR RB13 overall, finished RB9 on a points per game basis in half point scoring formats. And look, Mixon's first season in Houston was definitely a productive one. I'm just a little bit skeptical that he's going to be able to duplicate it, guys. He got off to a really hot start, faded a little bit down the stretch, averaging just 5.9 half PPR fantasy points per game over the season's final four contests. And the real problem for me in Dynasty here, this is probably no shock, is going to be his age and his workload that he's accumulated throughout his NFL career. In 2025, Mixon will be age 29, and we know what happens as running backs creep up into their late 20s, and certainly when they hit 30, the wheels can tend to fall off, particularly for the high usage backs in a lot of cases. Mixon is going to enter next season with just over 2,300 touches on his frame so far in his career. And I've just seen this movie too many times, guys, where you hang on to a big name at the running back position. They're an aging guy. Those miles they start to creep up, and then guys break down quickly. Not everybody can be Derrick Henry where they're smashing thousands and thousands of yards out into their early 30s. And I just really just a case where I want to get out a little bit too soon rather than a year too late on Joe Mixon. You just know what the value does with those guys, those aging running backs. Once things start to go wrong for them, they go wrong in a hurry. But definitely not a guy you should be giving up on for nothing necessarily. So a couple of different trade ideas here. If you're a rebuilding team in a dynasty format, what I'm looking for is a late first round pick in this upcoming draft. Might be tough to get that considering it is considered a relatively high profile running back draft, and there is a lot of good players in the class, but you never know. There's tons of managers in leagues that they don't necessarily like draft picks. Maybe they don't do their rookie draft homework as much as you do. Someone like you who's listening to a podcast in January. Those managers are in leagues. So that's one of the things I'm looking for. Maybe at draft time, if it's early second round pick that I can get, that's a guy that I really like that falls to me. Maybe I've considered making that type of deal as well. I definitely unload him for any 2026 first round pick. Might be a sneaky angle where you can play if you're willing to wait one extra year to get a draft pick for someone like Joe Mixon. Maybe you trade him to a contender and that Mixon helps that manager this season. But maybe he doesn't. Maybe if he falls off, then maybe that pick ends up being a little bit earlier than you thought, and all of a sudden you waited a year. Maybe you're getting a mid-round 2026 first-round pick in a different class. And my other thought for a rebuilding team here is maybe swap him out for a wide receiver. Maybe try to package him together with another asset, something like Mixon in a second-round pick for like a Jaden Waddle or a DK Metcalf or DJ Moore, who just got a little bit of a bump in the head coaching department with Ben Johnson coming to town. Something sort of like that, where I'm just kind of pivoting away to a safer asset, a younger wide receiver with a little bit longer of a track record who can ideally produce for a greater period of time. And if you're a contending team and you're holding on to Joe Mixon, this is where it can be kind of tough, where if you need that production in your lineup, totally get it. So if I'm selling Mixon as a contender, I'm not going to do it for an early second or a late first. What I'm trying to do most likely here is buy back some years, meaning I take Joe Mixon and I tag on a little bit of a sweetener to go get a little bit younger at running back. Again, maybe try Mixon in a second and maybe multiple seconds for someone like a Kenneth Walker or a James Cook. Maybe if it's a late first even, maybe hang on and see how the class pans out, see how you like the end of the first round and closer to your draft. If you like that, maybe you circle back and you go ahead and buy those, 3, 4, 5 years of running back production left that those younger guys have. See if you can go ahead and get that done.